Hey everybody, Trent here.
And I'm Betsy.
Hey Betsy, we have a bit of an announcement, don't we?
So you tell me. That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. It is December, it is the end of 2024, and we are going to be celebrating our first full year over on Patreon, where we are offering 4, 5, 6, 12 different other shows that we've had on offer the entire year. It's been a growth experience over there, and we've been having a whole lot of fun.
We're also celebrating that it's the end of 2024 and we're coming up on our year-end special and we're in a celebratory mood.
Absolutely. And to celebrate, if you go sign up right now, patreon.com/neverseenitpod, for the rest of the month, you get a discount.
That's right. If you sign up anytime in December, you will get a discount on all of those fabulous shows.
And to give everybody kind of a taste of what we've been up to, we're going to post an extended preview of each of our main shows once a week for the rest of the month. And to start off, the clip for this week is actually going to be from our Never Seen It Movie Club show. It's the one that actually got posted this week. It's Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
So we hope you enjoy this clip, and we hope that you'll come over to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where you can sign up now and hear that full episode.
Enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Never Seen It Movie Club. My name is Trent. I'm sitting here with Betsy.
Hey.
It is the final edition of 2024 of this here movie club. And Betsy, I could not think of a better addition to add to our Hall of Fame than the movie we're about to talk about.
I'm frankly surprised it made it all the way through 2024. And is the last entry and not something we did at the beginning.
I mean, it might be just the best one because of the history that we have with it. And of course, I'm talking about Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I think, Betsy, this is the movie that you introduced me to first. One of many, but it's the first movie that you introduced me to that became one of my favorites of all time.
One that I thought you might like, but I hit hard.
Yeah, and we've talked about this many times.
Correct.
Yeah, we talked about this many times. Betsy is the movie sommelier, where she can get to know somebody's personality and what their movie tastes are, what their music tastes are, what their tastes are in general, and she can select from a long list of movies that she has watched and just create a palette, if you will.
I try anyhow. I have movies that I sense you might enjoy. And when we were getting to know each other and I was learning about you and the things you liked, this was a movie that I thought maybe this is a movie Trent would enjoy. Well, because here's the thing. We always talk about history with this movie. Obviously, I had seen this one before you did.
Yep.
And this was just one I watched by myself in my apartment.
And it came out in 2010, right?
Yeah, so I was single and living alone, and I just put it on, and it was okay. Like, I thought it was okay. But I remembered what the movie was and the elements of it, and it occurred to me that this might be something you would enjoy. And it really wasn't until I introduced it to you and you got really into Scott Pilgrim that I came to really appreciate it along with you.
Yeah, because Edgar Wright, the director / writer and producer of this movie, and he's a guy I've seen a lot of his movies since, but he just constructed this movie in a way that was almost exactly for me. Because not only does it have a whole lot of like video game elements to it. I've heard this movie described as the best video game movie not based on a video game, but it also has this fucking punk music and rock music glint to it that just spoke to me in a way that no other movie has.
And it hadn't really occurred to me that this was it not the first, but certainly one of the first Edgar Wright movies you had seen? Because I think you had already seen Shaun of the Dead by this point.
Yes, I had seen Shaun of the Dead, and I think that's the only one to that point.
So stylistically, this is something that just sort of grabbed you because he's pulling from so many elements of things that you already in your life enjoy.
Right. Like, he is a fucking nerd. I mean, we are self-admitted fucking nerds on this podcast, so it's not really out of the realm of possibility that I would enjoy a lot of his movies. And, he's mainly a film buff, but at the same time, he's about our age. He's a little bit older than us, and he grew up in the 80s like we did, and he was engrossed in the culture. But this movie isn't just him, but it's also, this is based on a graphic novel, a series of graphic novels. So putting all of that together here, I think is a great marriage, because not only do you need to have the stylistic stuff in here, but you also have to have an experimental filmmaker that is willing to put in the work to make the vision of the graphic novel or comic book, whatever you want to call it, put that vision on screen, and he fucking nailed it.
And this is from people who've never actually read the graphic novel.
Totally. We don't know anything outside of this movie.
But the things that we've seen of it, I think it is the kind of property that does require a very specific director, because this movie did not do well in the box office, even with him at the helm. And it is only in the years after that it has gained a cult status.
Yeah, it also had the disadvantage of coming out the same season or weekend or very, very near Inception, and everybody was obsessed with Inception.
And of the two things, like, I get it. They're very high concept. Like, this is also a high concept movie, but in a very different way that Inception is.
See, with this one, you kind of have to let it wash over you, but at the same time, Inception does too. I'm going to say this. I didn't like Inception. I kind of hate Inception. I've only ever seen it once, and the more time that has gone by, and the more I've heard other people talk about it, the more I fucking hate it.
I think maybe that'll have to be something we revisit possibly in Second Chance Cinema, where we see if maybe your opinion has cemented or changed about Inception. But
it's gone really downhill. But yeah, maybe down the line we'll have to do that.
I do think that is another conversation for another time. But I get where you're drawing the line, where there is this director who has a lot of big visions and does things that a lot of directors wouldn't even think to do.
No, because the way Edgar Wright does a lot of his movies is that he has it all storyboarded in his head. And, of course, that's the way you make movies. It's the way you make cartoons. It's the way you make everything. You have to have it storyboarded. But his thing is, every single frame has something in it. There's stuff in the background. There's little music cues or sound effect cues. There's stuff just in the stitching of people's clothing. There's little stars in people's eyes that we've never noticed until today. It's all of these very, very minute details that just give it so much character.
I think his brain actually does work in the way that a graphic novel or a comic book works, where it is frame by frame by frame. And if you were actually to go and count the number of single shots or edits in this movie, I would bet it is an absurd number compared to most directors.
Yeah.
Because he is the master. He is known for those fucking quick cuts. He did it in Shaun of the Dead. He did it in Hot Fuzz. He has done it pretty much, I think, in every movie he's ever made.
I think the movie Baby Driver is the perfect encapsulation of what Edgar Wright wants to put on screen. Scott Pilgrim is not his baby. This is not his. He's just interpreting somebody else's work. But Baby Driver is all him.
But I was thinking about Baby Driver while watching this movie, because you said he is a guy who loves movies, but he's also a guy who's really tapped into music. Music is another very heavy detail of his life. And you get a little bit of that sense in this movie, and he just takes it to an absolute 15 by the time he got to Baby Driver. The seeds of what he was going to do in Baby Driver exist in Scott Pilgrim. And I don't think he would have made Baby Driver if he hadn't made Scott Pilgrim.
I think he just proves it to himself in this movie that he actually could make Baby Driver.
And here it's just the intro to what he would then do in that movie. Mm-hmm. And yes, stylistically, they're quite different, because that one is a lot more grounded in reality, and this one is an absolute sensory overload because it's bright and there's lights and it's comic books and action scenes and it is wild.
The pace of the movie is just so frenetic. Like I was remarking on it while we were watching it just now. Just how quickly we go from the intro all the way up into the first fucking like battle when they're playing at the Battle of the Bands thing at the first bar. How quickly we get introduced to Scott and the band and Knives, and it's the dynamic between everybody. You get everybody's past. Like, you know that these two used to date. You know that these two, or you know that everybody went to high school together and Knives is in high school, and there's just everything thrown at you. And now, me sitting here in 2024, I have seen this movie many, many times. I don't really remember really understanding what the hell I was looking at the first time I watched this movie with you on your like 32-inch TV on a DVD. But the things that really stuck with me is just all of the little tiny details, like all of the Zelda music and sound effects right at the beginning when young Neil has his Nintendo DS open, and some of the sounds are, I guess, the idea here is that it's coming out of that, but it's just in the movie. And as they're just doling out all this information, we are immediately thrown into their practice session, and it just goes. It just goes.
And that was one of the things that I figured why this might be a movie for Trent, because of all the little like Legend of Zelda, Sonic the Hedgehog. There's literally a band called The Clash at Demon Head, which I didn't know was a video game thing until you told me.
Is the name of a video game from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, and there's a ton of things like that that are right in your face. And some of it doesn't need to be here. Like, why do we need little like coin sounds throughout this movie? Just little sound effects from video games.
Yeah, the little Sonic ring sound is everywhere in this. And when Ramona pulls out the hammer from her bag, it makes the little Sonic thing at the end of every Sonic level. It's that shit. So again, it doesn't need to be there. And if you didn't know that it was video games, I don't think it would have been distracting.
No, and that's why I think watching this by myself, and I didn't get